Part 91. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 901. So many new workers were added to the factory all of a sudden that Zhao Zhigang felt like his head was about to explode. Not only was the output immediately affected, but the quality of the products was also affected. They refused to pay 2 cents for the goods handed over to the parking space. Take it away, every supervisor is shouting, saying that they can't control it at all, whether you like it or not. In the workshop, there are mountains of semi-finished clothing. Zhang Chen went to the factory and called all the supervisors together for a meeting. Before he could say anything, the supervisors complained to him one after another, saying that they had just come back from the holiday. It was like this every year, and the workers had not recovered their hearts. Life will be a little rougher, requiring them to spend more time than usual to cope with it. Now it's better. We don't even have time to teach the new workers how to use the sewing machine. How can we have time to take care of the parking spaces? You are a big team and I can handle 1 or 2 workers. There will be more than a dozen at once. How do we manage this? This batch of new workers from GIS who arrived at the factory just like Zhang Chen and others did when they recruited new workers. They dispersed these people into each group instead of concentrating them into one group. If they were concentrated in one group, the supervisor will complain even more. It's different, Zhao Zhilong and Zhang Chen said. It turned out that the new workers we hired were a little rough in their work, but at least they were skilled workers. They corrected them little by little every day, and their problems could be corrected. What should I tell them? He can also understand. Now, not only can the machine not be used, but he can't understand what I said to him, and I can't understand what he said to me, so what else can I do? Zhang Chen asked Zhao Zhigang, aren't those who can understand Mandarin and those who can't sit next to each other, and the one who can understand can be the interpreter? Zhao Zhigang shook his head. It's useless. Those who can understand Mandarin have never made clothes. It's the same as those who can't understand. If you tell him, he doesn't know. If you tell him about stitches, he looks at you and doesn't know. It's called stitches. If you tell him about the stitching position, he still looks at it. He doesn't know what the stitching position is. He can't even tell the difference between a needle number 9 or a needle number 11. What can he understand? Kaidi said, also, even though he can understand, he still sits there stupidly, not knowing how to talk to his fellow countrymen. Don't talk about their parking spaces. It's the same here in my back road. These people are hard working. I didn't notice, and she put up the hang tag. As a result, there were 4 or 5 types of hang tags on that style of clothing. The hang tags that were originally clearly separated on the table were all messed up. It made me have to ask everyone to stop, cut off the tags on the clothes, and rearrange the tags on the table. She was doing it alone, and there were a bunch of people behind me who couldn't clean it up. I told her, you are more reasonable than me, arguing with me, saying that these hang tags are not all the same size, and don't they look the same when hung up? If I'm serious, I'll cry. Do you cry now? Well, dozens of fellow villagers came to my back to settle accounts with me. They are all relatives of each other. Zhang Chen looked at Zhao Zhigang. Zhao Zhigang nodded and confirmed this. He told Zhang Chen that if he and many old workers hadn't run over, they would have beaten up the back-end supervisor. Zhao Zhigang's words made Zhang Chen suddenly nervous. In a factory, with so many people, what they were most afraid of was that the fellow villagers below would form small groups and engage in factionalism. That would cause big trouble. If the conflict develops to the end, both parties there will be a fight. How do old workers and new workers get along now? Zhang Chen asked everyone. I don't want to live in the same room with them at all, Kaidi said. There were several people in the room, and everyone kept each other clean. Now there are 1 or 2 new ones who have made the room a mess and are messing around. Why are you so messed up? She would just pick up other people's soaps, shampoos, etc., and use them randomly. Originally, everyone's soaps, shampoos, etc. were all concentrated in the bathroom. She could use her own, and there would never be any problems. It's okay now, I'm so annoyed, I have to put these things under my bed and bring them back when I need them. Put it under your bed, and they still have to come and get it, a supervisor shouted. Also, we are exhausted from working overtime. They are now skilled at sewing machines every day and don't work. When we return to the room, we want to sleep, and the result is they asked a few people to play cards and gamble for money, and they were all men. How can we women sleep with them? We dare not talk about them, they are very fierce. I don't know about the others. I saw what I saw in my cafeteria and was scolded several times by me, but it was of no use. Fu, the chief secretary, said, when it's time to eat, they would open a window to a few people when they came. The other people would not let anyone queue up if they wanted to. They said that they had grabbed this place and could only use it to get food for their fellow villagers. How could this be true? It was no use scolding me that day, so I asked the chefs inside not to serve them food as long as they were still occupying the window. As a result, a large group of people came to surround me. Fortunately, I have many fellow villagers, and that's why I didn't dare to take action. It's not just food, it's also rice, Zhao Hailong said. As soon as we arrived in the canteen, we occupied several rice buckets and didn't let anyone else eat. We had to wait until all of them had finished eating before we could eat. They were like pigs. Yes, we eat a lot, so when we make a meal, the side of the rice pail is so dirty, filled with rice. In Zhongchen's cafeteria, when they eat, the food is limited. Everyone has to go to the window to get it. Feel free to hit. Everyone was talking to each other, and all of them had a lot of complaints. Zhongchen originally wanted to hold a meeting to understand the situation first, but the meeting turned into a meeting to denounce the new workers. Zhongchen sat here, and the more he listened, the more he couldn't sit still. He felt that his originally orderly factory had now turned into a powder keg that could explode at any time, and the ones most likely to explode were probably these new workers and the original heroes. The old local workers in the garment factory in Hangzhou have always looked down upon workers from other places. Now, I'm afraid this prejudice will become even deeper. Zhongchen asked 2 points, how are the people of Laokuning now? It's almost there, we're about to start a fight, Liangfen said. Zhongchen looked at Zhao Zhigang, who was also at a loss. When Zhongchen told him, he thought it would be a trouble, but he didn't know it would be such a trouble. Zhongchen asked everyone to dismiss the meeting first. He told them, now, I ask you to find a way to avoid contradictions and conflicts first. I will think about how to deal with other matters. Mr. Zhang, what should I do with the clothes piled up in the workshop? Liangfen asked. There is no ambiguity about this. What should be reworked must be reworked. Zhongchen saw Kaidi and the other supervisors with unhappy faces. They all wanted to say something, but he knew what they would say without having to listen. Zhongchen said, in this case, let all the new workers stop and go back to their dormitories to rest. You can restore the normal production order in the workshop as soon as possible. When the supervisors heard this, they actually applauded. Zhongchen listened and smiled bitterly in his heart. There was no other way. The peak period of replenishment was coming soon. He knew that if the workshop could not resume normal production, the factory would be in trouble. The chaos of the company will soon turn into the chaos of the entire company, and one trouble will soon turn into a series of troubles. After Zhongchen announced that the meeting was adjourned, all the supervisors left, leaving only him, Zhao Zhigang, and Zheng Huiyang. Zhao Zhigang looked at Zhongchen and begged, "Boss, please spend some more travel expenses to send them all back, otherwise our factory will be destroyed. Really, I have never seen such a mess in the factory." No, Zhang Chen shook his head, it's definitely not possible to send it back. Okay, okay, boss, I know what political mission you are going to talk about. Even if this is a political mission, I can't complete it. You should either shoot me. Below, the bell for getting off work rang at noon, and Zhao Zhigang and Zhang Chen said, "Boss, go to the canteen and see if what the old man said is true. The old man has said that he is in charge of tens of thousands of people in Zhenshanhe, and it is easier to manage than these 200 people." When Zhang Chen heard what Zhao Zhigang said, he really stood up and walked out. He walked to the staff canteen next door and saw a total of 5 windows for serving food. 4 of them had long queues, and only one was crowded in front of the window. There were a bunch of people, but no team. Zhang Chen walked over and saw that all the people there were really from Liyang and the others. Some people had seen Zhang Chen in his hometown and knew that he was the boss, so they stepped aside. There were a few others who were still occupying the place. Zhang Chen suddenly felt that Wu Ming was angry and shouted, "What are you doing?" Zhang Chen roared so loudly that the whole restaurant heard it. The old workers, who had never seen the boss lose such a temper, stopped their chopsticks and looked at him, feeling relieved at the same time. There were more than 1,000 people dining in the entire 600 to 700 square meter restaurant, and it suddenly became extremely quiet. Zhang Chen pointed at the few people still occupying the window and shouted, "Get away from there! Does this window belong to you? If you want to say it belongs to you, tell me which room you live in. I will immediately have people knock out all the cement here and pile it on your bed." Those few people were stunned, and someone pulled them and told them that this was the boss. Others said that he was a friend of Township Chief Li. Zhang Chen continued to yell loudly, "Are you here to work, or are you here to grab food?" Zhang Chen pointed at one of the men and said, "Come on, tell me how much work you did this morning. There are so many workers here who have worked hard all morning and they still have to give you food. Why do you think you are? I am boss here, I get food and you have to queue up obediently. Who are you? Are you my dad or grandpa?" The man's face turned pale and he was mumbling something. Zhang Chen turned around and saw Lao Fu and said to him, "Old man, please open the door to the canteen at the back and leave. Don't you think that you are the biggest in the world? You don't even need to queue outside, just go in and take as much as you want. If you don't have enough, let the canteen master, I'll do it for you. Go ahead, what are you doing standing here?" Those people walked away angrily. Zhang Chen said loudly to the old man, "Master Fu, please remember that from now on, if anyone dares to occupy the window, whether he is an old worker or a new worker, you will kill him. Get him out and don't let him eat. If he has an objection, let him come to me. If he wants to fight, let him come to me. I won't believe it. How capable he is. No matter how many fellow countrymen there are, if they want to fight, I will still beat them one by one. Well behaved, I don't believe in this evil. If you think you have the ability, come and try it." The old man quickly said, "Yes, I understand, Mr. Zhang." Zhang Chen walked away, and old Fu called people from other teams to line up at the window. A queue quickly formed at that window. Zhang Chen left there and walked to the food stalls. From time to time, someone would say, "Well done, boss." Zhang Chen smiled at them. Those who were guarding the rice pail saw Zhang Chen coming and walked away. Zhang Chen walked to the door of the restaurant. Those who were occupying the window were standing outside and saw Zhang Chen coming out. Quickly dispersed and ran upstairs. Zhang Chen felt confident and somewhat comforted. He felt that the majesty and intimidation of his boss was still there, but these people did not dare to face him. This at least meant that they themselves knew that what they were doing was bad thing. Zhang Chen walked back to the office, and Zhao Zhigang followed him in and said to him, "Boss, you are so awesome. You just stunned them all. By the way, boss, will you come during dinner?" Zhang Chen glared at him, and Zhao Zhigang left. Zhang Chen called Lu Ligan and asked him, "How are the people from Liyang?" "Holy shit, here is a group of workers. They are all Liangshan heroes. Yesterday, I got into a fight with Lao Wan and the others. Fortunately, Lao Tan went over and calmed them down. I'm giving them military training today," Lu Ligan shouted. Road. Zhang Chen's eyes lit up, and he remembered that this old Tan was in the army, but he was leading the troops. Every year, new recruits came from all over the country. They were all young men, and they were all strong-blooded. They were not more difficult to control than these people. Maybe the old man Tan really has a way to suppress them. Zhang Chen thought of this, stood up, and said to Zhao Zhigang, "Just watch, don't let anything happen. I'll go out for a while." "What will these people do in the afternoon?" Zhao Zhigang asked. "Continue to rest and wait until I think of a solution. By the way, keep an eye on those workers. Don't follow them and cause chaos." Zhao Zhigang said yes. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, Book Friends 202007171118222046, Dal Tin Soldier, and reading books every day for your rewards. Thank you for your monthly ticket and have a safe journey. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 902. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan arrived at the Hangcheng Spoke Factory and saw Lao Tan conducting military training on more than 100 new workers in the open space of the factory. There were more than a dozen new workers they recruited this year, and the 100 people who came from Liyang and others. More than 100 people formed a square formation. Lao Tan was wearing an old military uniform without collar and epaulets. He stood face to face in front of the phalanx, shouting slogans such as "Stand at attention," "Take a break," "Look forward," and so on. He was very energetic, and there were words in the middle of each command. There is a dragging sound, and then it ends suddenly, "Look forward." "Stand up," it sounds firm and powerful. After every command is given, he will patrol the square. Anyone who fails to do the right thing will be severely scolded by him. His expression is cold and his tone is firm, leaving you no room for bargaining. When Lao Tan saw Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan coming, he shouted for relief, and then ordered a company commander Yang to come out and let him lead the team to run in unison throughout the Spoke Factory area. Lao Tan came over, and Zhang Chen told Lao Tan about the situation in his factory. Lao Tan smiled and said, "I thought our situation was special. It seems to be the same everywhere, and Xiao Wu and his friends should be similar." Lu Ligan called Wu Kai, and sure enough, Wu Kai was also very upset. "It looks like we need to do military training together," Lao Tan said. "Brother, will this work?" Zhang Chen asked. "Of course," Lao Tan said, "this is just like our army. Before these people came, everyone's growth environment and experience were different. Many of them have never been to a city or even a factory. I don't know what it is like, but when I get here, I will bring my old living habits with me." "Do you know why when new recruits arrive in the army, they need to go to the recruit company for training first and then be assigned to each unit?" Lao Tan asked. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan both shook their heads. "That is a transitional stage. In this stage, you are allowed to change your original living habits and adapt to the new life. Don't underestimate standing at attention, taking a rest, and walking in step. You may be thinking, what is the use of practicing these? Is it necessary to stand at attention, take a breath, and walk in unison on the battlefield? Of course you don't need it, but all of this, condensed, is just 2 words, command, constantly giving orders, 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 orders. Let you react to all these orders, all your reactions and performances. Condensed, it also has 2 words, that is obey, 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 obey unconditionally. When you get used to obeying and obedience becomes your conditioned reflex, When the charge horn blows, you will obey the charge horn's order and rush forward desperately. There are thousands of troops in this world who can fight. But there is only one army that can win the war, and that is a well-disciplined army. Therefore, the first of our 3 major disciplines and 8 points of attention is to obey the command in all actions, otherwise it will be chaotic. On the battlefield, what relies on the soldier's conscious awareness of obedience? Otherwise, what else do you rely on? Your loud voice? What's the use of your loud voice? You have both spearmen and guns. Don't think that only you can defeat others, and others can also collapse. About you. Some people always joke that our troops fold quilts as neatly as dried tofu. What's the use? On the battlefield, do we still rely on folding quilts? Let me tell you, on the battlefield, we don't rely on folding quilts, but it can fold quilts. The ones that are stacked like dried tofu are definitely more effective than the ones that can't even make a bed. The same thing happened to me when I came here yesterday. I looked at the dormitory and it looked like a pig's nest. I knew that it would be strange for a group of people like this to be together and not fight or cause trouble. After half a day of training this morning, I felt much better. After the training is over, and this person has a sense of discipline and obedience, he will be able to accept whatever you teach him. Now, his people are here and his ideology is still in his hometown. He is not ready to accept changes at all. Whatever you say to him, he will reject it. It goes in one ear and out the other. Let them learn obedience is the first step. Old Tan kept talking. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan thought it made sense. Just like they were in the troop, why was it difficult to manage the troop? It was not because of these wild thorns of their own, whether it was Lao Yang or some other leader. If they say something, they will reply with a few words, making the other party half angry to death. Unexpectedly, things have turned around, and today, it was my turn to be so angry that I almost died. Brother, how long will it take for you to train here? After training, come to my place and help me train too, Zhang Chen said to Lao Tan. Lao Tan thought for a moment and then asked, can you arrange for another 200 people to live in the dormitory in your factory and bring your own bedding? Zhang Chen said yes. In that case, gather the people here, as well as those from Xiaowu and the others, to your factory for military training. In 10 days, you can also line up at the stadium below. Lao Tan said that Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan both agreed. Brother, I have to thank you for the hard work, Zhang Chen said. I can't do it, I need to ask for reinforcements. Lao Tan patted his clothes and told them that I was already a guerrilla and needed to ask real soldiers to train them. Why? Lao Tan, you have not been a regiment leader, but you are also a soldier among soldiers, Lu Ligan said. It's okay in the army, but not now. Lao Tan saw the two of them confused and explained, the military uniform itself is a kind of majesty and intimidation. Do you think that if a soldier stood in front of you and ordered you, would you resist? Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan thought about it and realized that this was really the case. But where can we contact real soldiers? Zhang Chen said. I have it here, I can contact you. Old Tan smiled. Invited from Hainan? Lu Ligan asked. Lao Tan looked at the two of them and laughed. What's the use of hiring someone from Hainan? Our Zhenchanhe construction site has held so many military-civilian joint construction activities. I don't have the contact information of any unit in Hangzhou. Now the higher authorities also require the troops to actively participate in and support local economic construction. I can contact them and ask them to help us with military training. Students from colleges and technical secondary schools do not need military training every year. Of course, we workers also need it. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan suddenly realized that Lao Tan took out his mobile phone and address book from his bag, walked aside and called the troops. After a while, he came back and told them that the contact was done and I would bring them back later. Just submit a letter of introduction and go through the formalities. Military training will begin the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow, we will gather everyone together. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan both agreed. Zhang Chen called Wei Wenfang and told her about the matter. Wei Wenfang said, "That's great. I'm really worried." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Wei Wenfang, don't you often do training yourself?" "Oh, brother, these are completely different things. However, it's also about you," Zhang Chen said. "What's up?" "I think during these 10 days, they will have military training during the day, and you will teach them how to speak Mandarin if they don't understand Mandarin at night." "Okay, I'll do it," Wei Wenfang agreed. Zhang Chen returned to the factory and told Zhao Zhigang and Zheng Huiyang about the situation. They also thought this was a good idea. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said that one is to free up a room that can accommodate 200 people, and the other is to set aside a place and a window in the restaurant for military training personnel to eat and train them in the evening. Lao Tan said, "The military training will start from tidying up the housekeeping in each of their rooms and continue to eating together." Zhao Zhigang said, "Yes, I will arrange this immediately. Also, we need to think about what to do after the military training is over," Zhang Chen said. "I think we should continue to focus on training, train them to use sewing machines, and then divide them into groups after they have certain production skills, so as not to disrupt the current production order. If you can't teach more than a dozen people, how can you teach more than 100 people?" "Who will teach you?" Zhao Zhigang shouted. "I was thinking about this issue today. I think the biggest obstacle to teaching students is language communication. What if we can find someone who can speak their language to teach them?" Zheng Huiyang asked. "Who can speak their language?" "Those who can speak their language came with them, and they have to be taught by others," Zhao Zhigang said. Zheng Huiyang shook her head and said, "There will be, but I don't believe it. There are so many garment factories in Hangzhou and hundreds of thousands of sewing workers, but there are only a few people from Qinglong. Let's go look for them. If we can find them now, Qinglong people who are working in Hangzhou are skilled lathe workers. Why don't we recruit them to our factory and let them teach us?" Zhao Zhigang and Zhang Chen's eyes lit up and they thought this was really a good idea. Zhang Chen said, "In this way, they can not only teach them techniques, but also teach them many other things. Those who are already working outside know some of the rules of the Hangcheng factory and can speak out from their own experience." "Yes, Mr. Zhang, Director Zhao, I have another suggestion," Zheng Huiyang said. "Say," Zhao Zhigang said. "The skills of the newly recruited Qinglong workers we have may not necessarily meet our requirements. I suggest setting up a teaching group with Zhao Zhilong as the leader. In this way, we will have a team that is unified with our workshop. According to the standards, these workers are well trained and can be integrated into them immediately after being assigned to each group." "Yes, Zheng Huiyang, your suggestion is very good," Zhang Chen shouted. "It's over. That's equivalent to cutting off Zhao Zhilong's head. You go do his work," Zhao Zhigang said to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I will do his work." Zhao Zhigang then looked at Zheng Huiyang, who said loudly, "Director Zhao, don't look at me. Do you want me to find these skilled workers from Qinglong?" Zhao Zhigang smiled and said, "You came up with the solution, of course it's up to you to find it." "Okay, I will go to the labor market every day to look for them, and then ask the old workers in the factory to call their fellow villagers in Hangzhou to see if there is anyone like this in their factory," Zheng Huiyang said. "It's okay, you have 10 days," Zhao Zhigang said with a smile. "By the way, Zheng Huiyang, you can place an advertisement in the Jianzhong Evening News for skilled sewing and lathe workers from Qinglong, and they are required to be able to speak Qinglong dialect," Zhang Chen and Zheng Huiyang said. "Look, boss, this will save you a lot of trouble. Once the advertisement is posted, you don't have to look for it. Someone will definitely call," Zhao Zhigang said. The bell rang for getting off work in the afternoon. Zhao Zhigang looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Boss, it's dinner time, should you go to the restaurant?" Zhang Chen knew what he meant, so he glared at him and cursed, "Zhao Zhigang, have you damn sure killed each of us?" Zhao Zhigang and Zheng Huiyang laughed together. "Thank you for the tip from the third one from top to bottom, 131 on the shore. Thank you to 948,946 and book friends 201807201259208875 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Happy Monday everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 903. Military training has begun. As the commands of look to the right, together, look ahead, and step together, go, came up from the playground downstairs, it seemed that even the workers upstairs were serious about their work. Got up. After the advertisement in the Qianzhong Evening News was published, a call came from Yu Wu immediately, saying that he was from Qinglong. There were 4 of them, and they all worked in the garment factory there. They had been working for 3 years and just this year. After leaving home, I originally wanted to continue working in Yu Wu, but when I saw the newspaper, I wanted to come to Hangzhou. After Zheng Huiyang understood their situation clearly, she asked them to come to Hangzhou. After the 4 people arrived, they were 3 women and 1 man. They were shocked when they heard that there were more than 100 fellow Qinglong people here and said, "We Qinglong people are very few here. We are here in the past 3 years, I have never met a fellow villager. How come there are so many of them here?" Zhao Zhigang told them the ins and outs of these people, and then they realized that those who were training on the court outside were basically from Qinglong, not more than 100, but a total of 400, and some had already been arranged to go to other places and work there. Those girls who were arranged to work as salespersons at the Benmushan specialty store were high school graduates themselves, and they had already moved to Stadium Road. They were all taken by Tan Shahen to and from work. Tan Shahen was like teaching young students in a theater troupe. Taking them with me, supervising them from getting up in the morning to brushing their teeth until going to bed at night. They adapted quickly and integrated in immediately without any problems. Some were assigned to work as security guards and cleaners in the dynamic zone. The work was relatively simple and not very technical. After they moved to Stadium Road, they adapted immediately. Zhao Zhigang kept the 4 of them, and Zheng Huiyang asked Zhao Zhilong to train the 4 of them first, so that when they teach others, everyone's standards will be consistent. After the arrival of these 4 people, they caused the repercussions and played a positive role among the people in Qinglong. They told those people that when they came out of Qinglong and arrived in Yu Wu, they could not find other jobs and saw sewing workers being recruited. There are more, but I spent 300 yuan to participate in a clothing training class. After I learned it, I signed up and they accepted it. If you are not a skilled worker, no garment factory will want you at all. Where can you be as good as you? You can live and eat here for free and receive free training. If you recruit people like this, don't have too many people. You can have thousands of people with just one move. Their words made other Qinglong people understand that their job opportunities were not easy to come by. If Mayor Li hadn't been friends with the boss here, he would never have had the chance to work here. With this kind of mentality, everyone knows that they don't have the capital to act arrogant here. Those old workers are all staying here based on their true abilities. Only they are taken care of through relationships. Such emotions not only affected Zhang Chen's more than 100 workers here, but also Lu Ligan and Wei Venfang's workers. When everyone participated in military training, they would not be so resistant to the military training itself. After the military training was over, everyone else returned to their own companies. Zhang Chen and the others continued their skills training. After half a month of training, these people were finally able to be integrated into each group. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang were finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. Zheng Huiyang will also leave their company at this time and follow teacher Ma and others to Beijing. Zhang Chen and Zheng Huiyang said that if they encounter any difficulties in Beijing, they should go to Xiaoli or call me. Zheng Huiyang said with red eyes, "Okay, I understand, thank you Mr. Zhang." Lu Ligan's splendid Qiantang was put on sale earlier than his Zhenchanhe project. As the first high-rise building community in Hangzhou, Yingying did a lot of market research before the opening. After the investigation, she wrote the opening price to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan was shocked when he saw it. The Pole shouted, "Is there any mistake? This price?" "That's right, Mr. Lu, that's the price," Yingying said. "Who did you investigate? Zhang Chen and Chu Tianlin? Plus He Hongmei?" Lu Ligan asked. Yingying chuckled, "I investigated many people, but I didn't investigate them." "Are you sure this is the price?" "Okay," Yingying nodded. The opening price that Yingying wrote to Lu Ligan was RMB 3,380 per square meter. You must know that even by the end of 1995, the wages of people across the country had increased significantly, an increase of RMB 1,000 over the previous year. But that's it? The average annual salary of each active employee in the country is only 5,500 yuan. According to this standard, a pair of two workers, with a year's income, can buy three more than one without eating, drinking, or spending. A little square house. And their splendid Qiantang has a minimum area of 88 square meters. Just a year ago, when they were discussing the Zhenshan River Improvement Plan, they thought that 2,811 square meters was already impossible. Tell me your reasons. Lu Ligan still didn't believe it. He told Yingying that the opening price was no child's play. If you set it lower, there is room for an increase. At worst, you will lose the few units that were sold at low prices. If you set it higher, no one will buy it. You can't say come again, I'll tone it down, you can only deal with it through discounts. The psychology of house buyers is to chase the price up rather than the price down. Once the houses in your community start selling at a discount, people will think there is something wrong with your house. Lu Ligan asked her the reason. Yingying organized it in her brain and gave her reason. First, the country's policies are now becoming more and more open. Many people who were doing business in Hangzhou tended to go back to their hometowns to build houses. They felt that they could not stay in Hangzhou for a long time. The minds of these people have changed. They feel that they will stay in Hangzhou for a long time, and returning to their hometown has become impossible for these people. Their willingness to buy a house has increased. This is true. Lu Ligan feels that there is indeed this trend. Even he and Zhang Chen have moved their entire family to Hangzhou. In addition, since April 1, 1993, the State Council announced the official cancellation of food and oil stamps. Urban and rural awareness and household registration awareness have gradually weakened. Those who came from rural areas felt that they were in the city. People who cannot live long-term without a huakao now feel that it doesn't matter whether they have a huakao or not. They can live in the city for a long time. Yingying continued, the second group of people we didn't pay attention to is that I went to the housing authority to check. Now the transactions of second-hand houses in Hangzhou are increasing every month, and the growth rate is getting bigger and bigger. What does this have to do with us? Of course it does matter. Who will have a second-hand house in their hands? Of course they are those who were the first to participate in the housing reform, and the house is already in their name. Why did they sell the house they lived in? Because they have a need to improve their housing. Lu Ligan nodded, this sounds like it has something to do with us. Yingying smiled, it's a big deal. The houses sold by these people are originally multi-story. There are no exceptions for multi-story houses. Most of them are 40 or 50 square meters. Like our splendid home, which is 65 square meters square, in multiple floors, it is considered a large area. You think about it, If a person who sells a small house in a multi-story building wants to improve his housing conditions, will he choose another small house in a multi-story building or choose the first high-rise building community in Hangzhou? A big house? It turns out that there are no high-rise residential buildings in Hangzhou, so they have no choice. With our splendid Jiantang, they have a choice. It makes sense, Lu Ligan said. By the way, who did you investigate? I have investigated all the executives of the companies in our splendid Jiangnan and found that their willingness to buy is quite high, but they hope they can also get mortgages. Mr. Chiao and the others should be interested in this unit price and total price. Please contact us. I've already contacted him, and Mr. Chiao said yes. He will send someone over when we determine when the market will open, Ying Ying said. Okay, then we will open the market immediately. Before the houses on both sides of the Gentian River are opened, we will try to sell the splendid Jiantang first, so as not to beat ourselves up later. Before the opening of Lu Ligan's splendid Jiantang, he ran an advertisement for 3 consecutive days in Hangcheng Daily and Qianzhong Evening News. The main theme of the advertisement was Hangzhou's first high-rise building community, closer to the blue sky, night pillow on the sound of waves of Jiantang River. When the market opened, it could be said to be an unprecedented event. All the houses in the first phase were sold out on the same day. This property attracted not only home buyers, but also almost all real estate developers in Hangzhou, who also came to take a look. What does this first high-rise residential community in Hangzhou look like? Lu Ligan can say that it has set the standard for high-rise residential buildings in Hangzhou. Some people changed their plans when they returned home, and changed the originally planned multi-story building to a high-rise building. Suddenly, whether there is an elevator where your family lives has become a lively topic when people in Hangzhou talk about houses. The dust settled on splendid Jiantang made Lu Ligan wonder how building and selling houses has become easier and easier. The launch of this project also gave him more time and ability to think about whether it's not time for a second big move. Thank you for your monthly votes, stupid people and bad demos. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Good evening, everybody. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 904. Lu Ligan stood upstairs in Zhongchen's dynamic zone, looking at the Hangzhou oil refinery next door. He often felt inexplicable. He didn't know why there were such monsters in Hangcheng. Even if they were, it is said that it was built very early, but it cannot be earlier than the Red Sun Exhibition Hall and Red Sun Plaza not far away. Lu Ligan didn't know whether it would be earlier than the provincial gymnasium next door, but he was sure that when the refinery was built, Stadium Road and the Huanchen North Road behind it, as well as Woolen Square, which was the Hong Kong Stadium back then, Sun Plaza has taken shape, and it is already the center of Hangzhou. Hangcheng Refinery occupies a large area from the original Kuning garment factory to Woolen Square. Except for the corner near the junction of Stadium Road and Woolen Square, there is an 8-story telecommunications building. Outside, the back reaches Huanchen North Road, and is only separated from Woolen Square by a wall. The entire Hangzhou oil refinery is as big as 6 or 7 Kuning garment factory. What puzzles Lu Ligan is who made the decision in the first place, and how could such a heavy chemical plant be built in the city center? Do those who make decisions regard the factory as a department store or a new landscape in the city? It's possible. Lu Ligan remembers that when he was a child, for a while, the prosperity of a place was calculated based on the chimneys of factories. Not only did the chimneys with thick smoke not make people feel disgusted, but they thought it was a symbol of advanced and industrialized levels, so it is not surprising that there is such a thick chimney beside the Gentian River. It is not surprising that there is an oil refinery here. If you think about it carefully, it seems not surprising. Also, at that time, the city's public transportation and road construction were not as developed as they are now. It was impossible for workers to travel too far to work. In addition, the city's power grid, water network, and road network also lacked funds to spread out so widely. Factories must rely on these existences, so it is inevitable for factories in every city to be located in the city. Lou Ligon and others saw propaganda posters when they were young. Agriculture must be based on Dasein. No matter where the picture is, there are layers of terraces with red flags flying. In fact, in areas like Jiangnan, wherever there are terraces, they are dug on the mountains. If you set out a few pieces of land, you will plant sweet potatoes instead of rice, but it doesn't matter. The reality of life must give way to the reality of art. At that time, the truth of art must be subordinated to the real politics. All the noble ladies who were well fed all day long must have pale faces, while the malnourished little Changbao must have a rosy face. Industry must learn from Daking. The most typical picture is that even in a landscape painting, several large chimneys must be drawn in the landscape. On the large chimneys, no matter how far away they are, the 5 words industry learns from Daking must be it is clearly visible, and it seems that only in this way can the new look and new atmosphere of Tsism be reflected. Lou Ligon learned a word from Zhang Chen, which was called new color and ink painting. Lou Ligon's stomach almost hurt from laughing. He felt that this new word was so useful. Lou Ligon looked at the Hangcheng refinery in front of him. Stainless steel pipelines were spread throughout the plant area. 2 spherical storage tanks and various plate towers were shining in the sun. He had a feeling of magical realism, just like those new color and ink painting. But Lou Ligon believes that as society becomes more and more normal, this magical color will inevitably be more and more diluted. When people wake up, they will find that this kind of heavy chemical enterprise, where is the new landscape, is completely urban. Sources of pollution and danger are the poisonous lungs of the city and will make the city dying. Zhang Chen walked over from the small door leading to their office area and saw Lou Ligon lying on the railing of the roof garden here in a daze. Zhang Chen asked, "What are you thinking about?" Lou Ligon looked at him and said with a smile, "How about I come and be your neighbor?" Zhang Chen was surprised. He looked at the oil refinery next door and seemed to understand something. Zhang Chen asked, "Do you want to take advantage of it?" "Yeah, do you think it's appropriate here?" "It's not appropriate, but there are too many inappropriate things in the city." "Are you going to touch them?" "Tell me, what else is inappropriate?" "For example, the Chengjian railway station is not suitable. There are railway tracks passing through the city center. Do you think it is suitable?" "The Woolenman bus station is also not suitable. The traffic in the city center is already so congested. If you want to put a passenger station here, do you think it's appropriate?" As Zhang Chen said, Lou Ligon laughed. "Haha, none of them are suitable. However, those places are too small and not cost-effective. This place is more suitable. Have you seen that the current landmark building in Hangzhou is the Hangcheng building? Don't you think it is too petty? Do you think it would be appropriate if a new Hangzhou landmark were erected here?" Zhang Chen looked at the Hangcheng refinery and said, "It's suitable. From a geographical point of view, this place is very suitable. It's far enough away from the West Lake, so there's no height limit. But from its upstairs, you can see the West Lake, and, the most important thing is, if you take down this place, I will also benefit from it." "Haha, why don't you thank me quickly?" Lou Ligon laughed. "Thank you for what?" "Thank you for your beautiful daydreams," Zhang Chen scolded. "Let's wait until your dreams come true." "It's not impossible," Lou Ligon said and turned around. "Here, give me a cigarette." Zhang Chen took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, smoked one and held it in his mouth. Then he handed the cigarette to Lou Ligon. Lou Ligon took it, smoked one, held it in his mouth, and put the pack of cigarettes away. "On the railing in front of you." The 2 people lit their cigarettes. Lou Li took a long puff of cigarette and said, "I have already understood that the Hangcheng refinery has high production costs due to its old equipment. Its output is less than a fraction of that of the Zhenhai refinery. For China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, it is useless. There is no benefit from putting it here, and the huge investment in relocation is not worth it. If it is shut down, so many people will not be able to be accommodated. Zhang Chen nodded and said, "It seems you really want to take advantage of it." "Yes, I have made an appointment with Lu Changcheng to go to his office tomorrow." "What's the use of looking for Lu Changcheng? Didn't you say that it is a company owned by China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, and the Hangzhou city government can't control it, right? The attitude of local governments is still very important. If their reaction to this company is very fierce, Chinese companies will also consider it. And, most importantly, do you know about China Petroleum U0026 Chemical Corporation and China National Petroleum Corporation, Company? Competition is fierce now." "What does this have to do with the refinery?" Zhang Chen was confused. Lu Ligan smiled mysteriously and said, "Everything is connected. Like now, the Petrochemical Corporation, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Corporation, and the Hangzhou city government are all divided and don't buy into each other. In fact, they create space for people like me. They can't do it. I can do things, I can connect some things that seem to be incompatible with each other, and things can be completed." Zhang Chen shook his head and still didn't understand. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Okay, you don't have to understand. I still need to think about this matter for a while. By the way, Zhang Chen, you said I would go to Sun Ho and the others now, would you?" "How about it?" Lu Ligan asked suddenly. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. He understood that in order to leverage the Hangcheng refinery, the Hangzhou city government cannot do it, and the Hangcheng refinery itself cannot do it. It must go up to China Petroleum U0026 Chemical Corporation, or even higher up. If Lu Ligan wants to take this path, he needs to go to Sun Ho. "No matter what, Sun Ho will definitely help," Zhang Chen said. "Just like you went to them to help me get those units by the Gentian River?" Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, "Yes." "Zhang Chen, thank you." "No need thank me. Help me run to Beijing and find Sun Ho. You know I can't do this." "Then they must be willing to help." The two were silent for a while, then Zhang Chen asked, "Haikan incident has not passed in your heart?" Lu Ligan shook his head. "I won't go to Sun Ho, not only for this matter, but also for other matters." "Other things?" Zhang Chen thought for a while and asked, "Is it related to Zheng Wei?" Lu Ligan nodded. "This matter is actually embarrassing for Sun Ho. He has not owed me anything for a long time. I owe him." The next day, Lu Ligan went to Lu Changcheng's place. Lu Changcheng was very happy to see Lu Ligan and told him, "Director Lu, Zhenshan he has achieved initial results and received rave reviews." "It is not easy," Lu Ligan said. "Now only the dredging and sewage interception and the renovation of the stone bridge have been completed, and the construction of the bridge over the river and the greening on both sides has just begun. The smell has disappeared, which is the most intuitive feeling for the people nearby." Lu Changcheng said, "This is a good job." "Why, you don't have any sense of accomplishment at all." Lu Ligan quickly said, Yes, but the main thing is that the leader has good leadership." Lu Changcheng laughed, waved his hand, and said to him, "Don't put a high hat on me. I don't accept that. The work is mainly done by you. I put in a little effort, but I'm still trembling." Lu Ligan was surprised. What can leaders be afraid of? "I'm afraid that people will say that our government and businessmen collude," Lu Changcheng said with a smile. Lu Ligan also laughed. "Don't be afraid, anyone can come and check. I can't even invite the leader to a meal." Lu Changcheng nodded and asked Lu Ligan if he had any good ideas today. "As long as your idea is beneficial to Hangzhou, you can boldly propose it and I will support it. I, Lu Changcheng, am not afraid of others gossiping." Lu Ligan and Lu Changcheng talked about the Hangcheng oil refinery. Lu Changcheng said, if this company belonged to us in Hangzhou, it would have been closed down long ago. However, since it is a Chinese company, we have no way to report it to the superiors. We have requested several times, but to no avail. As the Hangzhou city government, of course we hope they can relocate or close down as soon as possible. Lu Changcheng turned around and looked at Lu Ligan and asked, what, Mr. Lu, do you have any idea? Lu Changcheng is not a fool. From the relocation of the last few units in Zhenshanhe, to the guests invited to cut the ribbon when Zhang Chen's Beijing store and dynamic zone opened, Lu Changcheng knew that these two young men were definitely more than just as they said themselves. They were people from a small local theater troupe in Yongcheng, and there were others behind them. Lu Ligan did not shy away. He said, I want to give it a try, so I need to listen to the leader's opinion first. If the leader thinks that this matter should not be touched, then there is no need for me to try. Lu Changcheng laughed loudly and said, Xiao Lu, Mr. Lu, Director Lu, it's not that complicated. Although our purposes may not be the same, as long as the results we pursue are the same, that's fine, just like the Zhenshan River project. This Hangcheng refinery, as long as we can think if we find a way to relocate or close it down, our Hangzhou city government will definitely support it. Lu Ligan nodded and said, thank you, leader, I understand. After coming out of Lu Changcheng's place, Lu Ligan called Sun Ho and booked a ticket from Hangzhou to Beijing that evening. Thank you to book friends 1410122333433779, Dal Tin Soldier, and reading books every day for your rewards. Thank you, Yeju and book friends 20180720125920875 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 905. At about 9 o'clock in the evening, Lu Ligan arrived in Beijing. Sun Ho came to pick him up at the airport. Sun Ho and Lu Ligan said that they had made an appointment. At noon tomorrow, my eldest brother and Xiao Wang's second brother would meet us. Let's have dinner together. Huang Jianren and the others will also come. When the time comes, you can just tell them the matter directly. Are you my eldest brother? Lu Ligan asked. Half father and mother, Sun Ho said. What about Xiao Huang, my second brother? Lu Ligan asked. Sun Ho smiled, he has the same father and mother. Are there any other mothers? Her eldest sister has a different father. Your revolutionary family is so complicated, Lu Ligan shouted. My eldest brother is 15 years older than me. His mother died in Zhengma during the suppression of bandits in the southwest in May 1999. My eldest brother was only 2 years old at that time. Is it complicated? Sun Ho asked. Lu Ligan quickly waved his hand and apologized. Sun Ho held the steering wheel, smiled and shook his head. He said, actually, we are all used to it. People like Mr. Huang Jianren who don't know the most like to say that he has been married 6 times and has 6 wives. They don't think about it. A man has said goodbye to so many of his relatives. How strong your heart must be to avoid collapse. Lu Ligan agreed. Sun Ho asked about Li Yong and Qiang, and Lu Ligan told him. Sun Ho smiled and said, he didn't expect Qiang to become the general manager of the casino. When he was studying, he would be there even when we were playing cards. Others laughed at us and scolded us for wasting our time. What about Lin Yiyan? Does she play cards? Lu Ligan asked. How is it possible? I won't touch it. Lin Yiyan basically belongs to that kind. She will despise whatever Qiang despises. She has worshipped Qiang since she was in junior high school, and her fever probably hasn't subsided yet, Sun Ho explained. But now, she is the ace dealer of the casino. Lu Ligan told Sun Ho about Lin Yiyan's show of strength in front of him and Meng Ping. Sun Ho was dumbfounded at first, and then laughed loudly. He asked Lu Ligan, by the way, Qiang is now carrying his head. Overalls, is Lin Yiyan wearing a cheongsam? Lu Ligan laughed, have you watched too many Hong Kong movies? Do you think Qiang is the king of gambling? I just can't imagine what the two of them look like now. Sun Ho said that after a while, he sighed, Gangzi, tell me, is it fate that manipulates people, or is life unpredictable? When I was studying, if someone told me that Yangzi would one day go to the government or join politics, even if you beat me to death, I wouldn't believe it. He is the last person who would go to an institution. As a result, I got to know him that day and found that he was quite good. His reaction was very good. Sun Ho took Lu Ligan to Gaija Street for late-night snacks. Huang Jianren and several men and women were already waiting for them here. They will formally discuss matters tomorrow, and today is their day to relax. In the private room where Sun Ho, Lu Ligan, and Huang Jianren arrived first, the four of them were sitting smoking and chatting. When they heard someone talking in the corridor outside, Sun Ho said it was coming. He quickly put out the cigarette in his hand and stood up. Huang Jianren also stood up. He was about to put out the cigarette in his hand in the ashtray, but it was already too late. Two men in their 40s came in from the door. Huang Jianren could only hide the cigarette in the palm of his hand, with the back of his hand facing the direction of the door. Sun Ho called one of them big brother, and then called the other brother Huang. Xiao Huang giggled at her second brother and called her brother, and Huang Jianren followed suit. Brother Huang glanced at Xiao Huang, then looked at his right hand, which was surrounded by cigarettes, and said softly, just smoke, what are you hiding? Huang Jianren chuckled and took out the cigarette. Lu Ligan looked at him in surprise. The two people who came in were Sun Ho's eldest brother and Xiao Huang's second brother. How come Sun Ho and Huang Jianren didn't look like they were seeing their brothers when they saw them? It was more like seeing his father. Only Xiao Huang seemed to be more casual. Whether he saw Sun Ho's eldest brother or his own second brother, they were all laughing. Xiao Huang introduced them to each other. When introducing Lu Ligan to her second brother, Lu Ligan noticed that she specially introduced that this was my leader and friend when I was in Hainan. He has always taken good care of me. She said it's mine, not Huang Jianren's. After introducing each other, everyone sat down. Sun Ho and Lu Ligan said, Gangzi, please introduce your affairs to brother Huang and my eldest brother. Lu Ligan told them about the Hangzhou oil refinery. Brother Huang looked at Sun Ho's eldest brother, and then asked Lu Ligan, what is the attitude of the Hangzhou city government? Lu Ligan told him that he had just gone to the deputy mayor in charge of urban construction in Hangzhou city yesterday to discuss this matter. Lu Changcheng, Sun Ho's eldest brother, suddenly asked. Lu Ligan nodded and said yes. Sun Ho's eldest brother raised his hand to signal Lu Ligan to continue, and Lu Ligan told them about Lu Chencheng's attitude. What's your plan? Brother Huang asked. Lu Ligan told them that his idea was to shut down the refinery and provide monetary compensation. In addition, Hangzhou City would provide a certain number of urban gas station sites. In this way, Sinopec could basically take over Hangzhou's gas stations. The gas stations are all occupied, so there is no room for PetroChina. After so many new gas stations are added, they are just used to divert the personnel of the original refinery. Does the Hangzhou city government agree to provide land for gas stations? Huang Erge asked. This, I haven't said specifically, can do work, but Vice Mayor Lu has made it clear that if Hangcheng refinery agrees to relocate, they can provide relocation land, but I think. You think that the Hangcheng refinery is already an old enterprise, and relocation has little value. If it is newly built, it may cause duplication of construction problems. It is better to shut down directly, right? Huang Erge asked. Lu Ligan smiled sheepishly and nodded. Brother Huang looked at brother Sun and said with a smile, you are very considerate. You not only think about the Hangzhou city government, but also think about Sinopec. The two of them laughed. Lu Ligan didn't know what their laughter meant, so he had to laugh along. However, your idea of replacing corporate land with gas station land is very novel. It does meet the needs of the city itself, and also takes into account the development needs of the company and the diversion of personnel, Huang Erge said. In addition, the refinery is in the city. The center has indeed a great impact on the development of the city, not only because of pollution issues, but also as a safety issue. Have Lu Chengcheng and the others ever asked the superiors to relocate or shut down the Hangcheng refinery? Brother Sun asked. I mentioned it several times, but to no avail, Lu Ligan said. Do you have paper and pen? Brother Huang asked. Sun Ho said, I have it. He took his bag, took out a pen and paper, and handed it to Brother Huang. Brother Huang wrote in a flash while saying to Lu Ligan, ask them to mention it again and send it here. After sending it, tell. He looked at Huang Jianren and then at Sun Ho, who said to me. Brother Huang nodded, then tell Monkey what to do next. After receiving it here, Monkey will also tell you. Lu Ligan quickly said, thank you, second brother. Brother Huang handed the written paper to Lu Ligan, smiled and said to him, I can see that you are better than the two of them. Next, Brother Sun and Brother Huang, after eating a little, stood up and said they were leaving and going to work. Sun Ho and Huang Jianren did not persuade them to stay, and Lu Ligan was too embarrassed to persuade them to stay, so they sent them to the door. The eldest brother and the second brother Huang both patted Lu Ligan on the shoulder, and the two of them walked out. Sun Ho and Huang Jianren also stayed at the door. Xiao Huang was the only one walking in the middle, holding someone's arm with one hand and sending them down with a smile. Sun Ho and Huang Jianren breathed a long sigh of relief. Sun Ho shouted, okay, the big thing is done, Pol, let's drink. Lu Ligan looked at the two of them and laughed, and told them about his previous feelings. Sun Ho and Huang Jianren also laughed. Sun Ho said, it's really like this, Zhangzi, you are right. Families like ours are actually similar. Our parents are busy at work and have no time to take care of us. Since childhood, our younger brother-sisters are all in charge, either the eldest brother or the eldest sister is in charge. Another thing is that the eldest brothers and eldest sisters in these families are generally older and have more experience. When I was a child, my elder brother would make a list for me of which extracurricular books I should read. There were rules for when I had to read them. After reading them, I had to write down my thoughts. My elder brother would check them one by one. If they didn't work, he would have to rewrite them. Including what to say and what not to say outside, it was not my parents who taught me, but my elder brother. Including which classmate's house I wanted to go to, my elder brother would also give me a list of 1, 2, and 3. Tell me, these are things you should never mention when you go to someone else's home. Sun Ho said, looking at Lu Ligan's eyes full of doubts, and explained that we children don't know about some conflicts between people and between units, but they are very taboo. Lu Ligan nodded and understood. Huang Jianren said, me too. When I was a child, my eldest sister arranged which classes to take, which teachers to hire, including which classes to take in my spare time, and what to study. My parents never cared about it. They can't control it, right? When your old man says it, it turns into orders and instructions, Sun Ho said with a smile. While they were talking, Xiao Huang came back. Lu Ligan smiled and said, why do I feel that you are the only one who is not afraid of them? Afraid of them, Xiao Huang snorted, they are afraid of me. Sun Ho said, we are not afraid, but in awe. Another characteristic of these elder brothers is that they are very close to the younger sisters. Lu Ligan smiled and said, what if it's the eldest sister? Several elder sisters like to take the youngest brother with them wherever they go, and that's Huang Jianren. Sun Ho said, if you don't believe me, ask him yourself. So if I ask eldest brother to do something, I should keep an eye on Xiao Huang, and if I ask eldest sister to do something, I should keep an eye on Huang Jianren, Lu Ligan asked, and the three of them laughed. That's basically true, Zhangzi. If brother Huang doesn't help you handle this matter, he will be pestered by Xiao Huang and be annoyed to death, Sun Ho said. Thank you for the tip from the third one from top to bottom, 131, on the shore. Thank you to book friends 201811241834233518, Zhonghaiwo, and Qian Dad for your monthly passes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. There is one more chapter, which has been written, but still needs to be revised, so I will update it twice today. These chapters are written very carefully and slowly. I hope you understand. Thank you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 906. When Lu Ligan returned to Hangzhou from Beijing, he went to find Lu Changcheng and reported to him that he had been to Beijing. In Beijing, the Hangzhou city government needed to explain the impact of the current Hangzhou oil refinery on the urban development of Hangzhou city, and the urgency of relocation, form a report and submit it. Lu Ligan was in the office. He used a note to copy the address that brother Huang wrote to him and put it in his bag. At this time, Lu Ligan handed the note to Lu Changcheng, and he said that reports should be submitted directly here and they would pay special attention to them. Useful? Lu Changcheng asked. Lu Lepole nodded. Okay, if it works, we will report it again. I hope this problem can be solved as soon as possible, Lu Changcheng said. 2 days later, Secretary Xiao Zhong called Lu Ligan and told him, Director Lu, our report has been sent out, please ask the other party to check it. Lu Ligan said yes, thank you Secretary Zhong. Lu Ligan called Sun Ho and Sun Ho said, okay, I understand. By the way, Ganzi, brother Huang asked me to tell you that the request to replace the gas station land with the Hangcheng oil refinery should be decided by the Petrochemical Corporation. Bien, it would be better to raise it with the Hangzhou city government. You don't have to mention it. After Lu Ligan thought about it for a while, he understood that in this way, it seemed that the other party was conditional and not asking for anything. They and the Hangzhou city government were equal negotiating parties. Instead of you coming up with a plan, I will accept it in full. In this way, the person sent by the other party will not look ugly. Lu Ligan calculated the time it took for letters to travel from Hangzhou to Beijing every day. It was a pity that official government documents could not be handed over to Wei Wenfang and the others for mailing, otherwise the report would have arrived in Beijing on the same day. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen were standing upstairs in the dynamic zone again, smoking cigarettes and looking at the oil refinery next door. Lu Ligan told Zhang Chen his experience of going to Beijing, and Zhang Chen was convinced that this time, maybe Lu Ligan really wants to be his neighbor. Lu Lepole pointed to the oil refinery next door and said with a smile, it is really magical to think about it. Everything is in progress, but this factory that is about to be shut down is still kept in the dark. They are probably the last ones to know their fate. Isn't it strange? Human destiny is also like this, Zhang Chen said, since we were young, we have been able to decide many things by ourselves. We are not forced to accept the change of fate until things come to pass. Lu Ligan laughed, this sounds a bit negative, but it is also true. In this world, there are really not many people who can determine their own destiny. There are just so many heroes, each of them looks high-spirited and directs the country. In fact, in the end, their fate is not something they can decide. Napoleon never thought that he would die of old age on a small island, and Hitler certainly never thought that he would commit suicide in a basement. Have you never seen that documentary? Zhang Chen said. When Ceausescu walked onto the balcony that day and waved to hundreds of thousands of people below, he was still very proud and felt that he still controlled the fate of Romania. Unexpectedly, the voice of opposition rang out from a corner below, and he collapsed in an instant, and was shot dead a few hours later. Actually, we ourselves are not like this. The day before, I thought Zinview Island was my world. The next day, I even lost my pants and wanted to run away. Lou Ligon shouted, "He damn it, if you don't say this, it will sound depressing. What if Lu Changcheng doesn't agree to exchange the land for the gas station?" Zhang Chen asked. "No," Lu Ligon said. "Why? Gas stations itself is a demand for urban development. There are more and more cars. What if you don't have a gas station, or there are too few gas stations?" Lu Ligon said, "It is impossible to let all the cars in the city go to the suburbs. Come on, that will artificially create busy roads in the city, and I can provide a lot of land, and the rest will not be too difficult for Lu Changcheng." Zhang Chen understood. This was true. Whether it was the Gentian River project or several other Jinxiu series projects, including the places he had acquired but not yet developed, Lu Ligon could allocate a piece of land as a refueling project. Stand. Even at the intersection with Dehuayuan, there will be so many residents inside, all with cars, and there is National Highway 320 outside. A gas station can and needs to be built there. This second brother Huang, does he have a big official position? Does he sound awesome? Zhang Chen asked. The officials are not big. Brother Huang is just a division chief, and Sun Ho's eldest brother is a deputy director, but they are very powerful. Lu Ligon said with a smile. To be precise, they are the group of people. The energy is huge and all roads are connected, which is not something we who come from the mountains and valleys can imagine. A group of people? What group of people? Zhang Chen was surprised. Sun Ho's eldest brother, Xiao Wang's second brother, and Huang Jianren's eldest sister are all very familiar with each other. They are either classmates, relatives, parents, or children of comrades in arms, or they went to the countryside to join the team together. They are very familiar with each other. Very, now they are present in every department, so no matter which department is involved, they can get through it, Lu Ligon said. Zhang Chen still couldn't imagine it. He said, even if each department has their people and they know each other, then they are not the leaders of the department, nor can they have the final say. Yes, they are not ordinary division directors or deputy directors. They have all been secretaries to the boss of the unit. They are not secretaries like these now. They are especially trusted by the boss and are treated like family members. They can speak for themselves in the unit. Secretary. Lu Ligon looked at Zhang Chen and smiled. Don't say you don't understand. I didn't understand it at first. Isn't it just a division director and a deputy director? Let me tell you, the style and aura when they came in were better than Liu's. As an adult, if I hadn't had close contact with them, and if Sun Ho and Huang Jianren hadn't talked to me, I would have never known that there were such a special group of historical products. Special historical product. Yes, weren't old comrades like Sun Ho and Huang Jianren's father all beaten down during that period? The ones who most vigorously reported and exposed them at that time were all my own secretaries. Later, these old comrades were rehabilitated and returned to their hometowns. After I got to the leadership position, I still had lingering fears. I didn't dare to ask someone who didn't know the truth to be my secretary. I was worried about being bitten again. So, many of them directly use their children as secretaries, but if they find it inconvenient to work this way, they use cross-fertilization, that is, their children serve as secretaries for their comrades, and their children serve as secretaries for themselves. After this arrangement, the old comrades felt that the secretary could make people feel at ease. They were the children they had grown up watching and had always called themselves uncle and aunt. If anything happened, they could trust the secretary to handle it, so it created a group of people like Brother Huang and Brother Sun. These people later became secretaries and almost all were promoted to middle-level cadres in various departments. Although their positions in the unit are not high, they all have such backgrounds and have a special relationship with the boss. The family itself, and with his background, he holds real power in every department. Zhang Chen understood, this is really unreasonable for outsiders. For such a group of people, it is impossible for them to find a way out even if they don't think about it. Including newspapers, they always talk about running projects, criticizing running departments to make money, and running away. Not all people, talent is the key to the success or failure of things. Zhang Chen looked up at the sky above his head and sighed. Under this sky, there were so many people and things that he didn't know about. He didn't know Sun Ho. He didn't know that there was a group of people who did things like this. He didn't know that. Miss Cai, I don't know that there is so much money, there is no use lying there, several hundred million, as long as Miss Cai says I have decided to do it, it will be fine. Lu Ligan was right. No one from a mountain valley like him would know these things. But the world is so big, isn't it because there are so many things you don't know? Have you ever thought about what you plan to call this building if it is built? Zhang Chen asked. Splendid Hangzhou Center, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing and cursed, you're either in the center of Hangzhou City or in the Jingxiu Center. This Jingxiu Hangzhou Center is so awkward. Lu Ligan smiled and said, I also think it's a bit hard to pronounce, so let's take the center of Hangzhou. Aren't I just going to build a new landmark in Hangzhou? More than a week later, Sun Ho called Lu Ligan and told him that the leaders of the Hangzhou city government had already approved the report and forwarded it to the Petrochemical Corporation. Tomorrow, the Petrochemical Corporation would send someone to Hangzhou to communicate with Hangzhou City. For government communication, you tell them first, and the Petrochemical Corporation will contact them in the afternoon to formally notify them. Lu Ligan said yes, thank you monkey. By the way, Pole, we are also friends, but you just pretend you don't know anything. Sun Ho finally confessed. Lu Lizan said yes, I understand. After hanging up Sun Ho's call, Lu Ligan immediately called Lu Changcheng. Lu Changcheng said on the phone, great, it seems that this matter can finally be pushed forward. After several rounds of negotiations between the Petrochemical Corporation, the Hangzhou city government, and Lu Ligan and his Jingxiu company, a decision was finally made to shut down the Hangcheng refinery. Lu Ligan and his Jingxiu company would pay a one-time compensation of a little RMB 9.8 billion. The Hangzhou city government provided 17 gas station sites to Petrochemical Corporation free of charge. Of these 17 pieces of land for gas stations, 7 were provided by Lu Ligan, and the remaining 10 were arranged by the Hangzhou city government. Of course, the cost of land acquisition and demolition would be borne by Lu Ligan. This is another win-win agreement. For the Hangzhou city government, it did not pay a penny and solved the long-standing problem of the Hangzhou refinery. For the Petrochemical Corporation, it abandoned an old plant and replaced it with a new one. When it came to the layout of the entire gas station in Hangzhou city, the cost of gas station construction was also borne by Lu Lipol. For them, they successfully realized the transformation of an old enterprise. For Lu Ligan, after obtaining this land, he can start the construction of his new landmark in Hangzhou. Everyone got what they wanted, and everyone was really happy. Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier and RIRI Shushu for the reward. Thank you to Wu Yehuan, Book Friends 20180720125920875, Sample Thief, and Running with a Smile for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 907. Lu Ligan walked into the office of Director Wang of the Hangzhou Post and Telecommunications Bureau. Lu Ligan and Director Wang first met at Lu Qinchin's place.
Because of Wei Wenfang's affairs, Lu Changcheng hosted a coordination meeting, and later they had a fight. We have met several times and we are considered old acquaintances. The telecommunications building of the Hangcheng Post and Telecommunications Bureau occupies this corner of the junction of Tianjin Road and Woolen Square. Although the area of the Hangzhou refinery is large enough to avoid the building of the Hangcheng Post and Telecommunications Bureau, it is also large enough to build the center of Hangzhou. But Lu Ligan felt that in that case, if people standing on Woolen Square looked towards the center of Hangzhou, they would find that its lower right corner was blocked by the telecommunications building. It's not perfect. The negotiations between Lu Ligan and the Hangzhou Post and Telecommunications Bureau soon came to fruition. The two parties adopted the form of cooperative building construction. The Hangcheng Post and Telecommunications Bureau gave up the telecommunications building. After the completion of the Hangcheng Center, based on the existing area of the Hangcheng Telecom Building, business buildings and office buildings will be returned at a ratio of 1:1.5. At the same time, the Hangzhou Post and Telecommunications Bureau has the right to build a telecommunications base station on the top floor of the center of Hangzhou. In this way, after the completion of Hangzhou City Center, the layout of the entire Woolen Square will be greatly changed. In front of the square are the horizontal Stadium Road and the vertical Jifang Road. Close to the Stadium Road is the musical fountain. Behind the musical fountain, the square in front of the original Red Sun Exhibition Hall is now the Huanbei Small Commodity Market. This market, the relocation will take place this year and the square in front of the exhibition hall will be restored. Behind the square in front of the gate, between Huancheng North Road, is the Zhejiang Exhibition Hall, which is the original Red Sun Exhibition Hall. On the right side of the square are Hangcheng Theater, Hangcheng Building and Xintianlong Commercial Building. On the left side of the square, extending from Stadium Road to Huancheng North Road, the entire center of Hangzhou. The area occupied by the Hangcheng Refinery and the Hangcheng Telecommunications Building is too large, and it is more than enough to build a Hangcheng Center. Between the Hangcheng Center and Zhangcheng's Dynamic Zone, from Stadium Road to Huancheng North Road, there are 3 28-story office buildings. After the floor plan came out, it turned out that the Hangzhou Post and Telecommunications Bureau had new ideas, and Director Wang called Lu Ligan over. After negotiation, Lu Ligan agreed to give the entire office building on Stadium Road to the Hangzhou Post and Telecommunications Bureau. Although in terms of area, it exceeded the original ratio of 1:15 between the two parties, the Hangzhou Post and Telecommunications Bureau was equivalent to the entire telecommunications building was moved to make way for a good location at the junction of Stadium Road and Woolen Square. And Lu Ligan has control over the entire Hangcheng Center. This is another win-win contract modification. The Hangzhou Center has 58 floors above ground, which is 6 floors higher than Mengping's Xinjia Yikao building. When Mengping found out, he called on the phone, Pol, take your time, let me get over this first addiction first. Lu Ligan laughed. He said that I never wanted to compete with you for the first place. When my Hangzhou city center is completed, the skyscrapers in Pudong will have thrown me out a few blocks away. We will compete with Shanghai. How dare you compete? The best I can do is to be first in Hangzhou and first in Zhejiang. There are 4 floors underground in Hangzhou Center. The 2nd to 4th underground floors are parking lots. This parking lot is integrated with the parking lots of the 3 office buildings next to it. It is equivalent to this entire piece of land. It needs to be dug down for more than 10 meters deep. The basement level is a supermarket and a car showroom. The 1st to 5th floors are shopping malls. However, the shopping mall in the center of Hangzhou is different from the Hangcheng building and the Hangcheng department store diagonally opposite. It adopts the same structure as Zhangcheng. Their dynamic zones are the same, in the form of a store within a store, and the entire 1st to 5th floors are named world-famous Brand Street. The 6th and 7th floors are the food court, the 8th and 9th floors are the entertainment and leisure floors,
The 10th to 39th floors are office buildings, and the 40th floor and above are the Kempinski Hotel Hangzhou. After Mr. Yang learned about Lu Ligan's Hangcheng Center project, he took the initiative to contact Lu Ligan. He said that Nanyang Bank can participate in this project, and our family can meet Mr. Liu's financial needs. Lu Ligan refused straight away. Although his tone was polite when he refused, he felt so happy in his heart. Lu Ligan and Mr. Yang said that I have the money to build this building myself. The construction period is too long. I don't want to use any financial institution's money. The cost of funds is too high. By the way, Mr. Chiao's place, when doing the mortgage, if you need your funds, Mr. Yang can contact Mr. Chiao directly. Lu Ligan knew that Mr. Chiao now had a lot of money from Miss CAI and Fuban Financial Holdings, while the proportion of Mr. Yang and Nanyang Bank's money in their trust company had dropped significantly. Lu Ligan said this because he had already calculated the accounts and arranged the time schedule. He had already paid the 19.8 billion to the Hangcheng oil refinery, as well as the land payment and demolition payment for 10 gas stations. After the payment is completed, the demolition of the Hangcheng oil refinery will take half a year. At the same time, Lu Ligan will complete the preliminary exploration and pile foundation construction. After all the buildings and equipment facilities on the ground of the Hangcheng refinery are demolished, he will start digging the huge pit. In Haikan, Lu Ligan dug the huge pit of Jinghai International Financial Center. The pit in the center of Hangzhou was even bigger than that. Lu Ligan knew how to dig it down and then build it up with reinforced concrete until it was plus or minus zero. There was no a year and a half is impossible. 2 years passed like this. In 2 years, his splendid Qiantang has been sold out, and the Gentian River project has begun to receive payments. Whether it is the funds needed to dig and fill pits or his subsequent construction funds, there is no pressure on him at all. Besides, by the time of plus or minus zero, Hangzhou Center itself can already start sales. Mr. Yang, do I still need your annual cost of 14.58 yuan? Goodbye. Even if I use Kunpeng Construction's equity as collateral to directly raise funds from MSCAI's Fuban Financial Holdings, I don't need such a high capital cost. Do you understand? This is the last hand Lu Ligan has left, although the possibility of using it is very low. Jason and the others have not yet completed the design of the project along the Gentian River, and they are about to start the design of the Hangzhou Center. Jason, Lu Ligan, and Zhang Chen said that it seems that we will not be able to return to Hong Kong. We have already considered it. Opened a branch in Hangzhou. Lu Ligan laughed, and he joked with Jason, okay, how many square meters of office building are needed? I use my office building to offset your design fees. Hongmei is very busy now. She has to go to Beijing and Shanghai frequently. Although there is also a Zhejiang film studio in Hangzhou, that dilapidated factory has not been able to produce a movie for several years. Blockbuster, in the entire film industry, this factory is almost negligible. In the first few years of reform and opening up, there were important and influential films in the country every year, whether it was Romance on Lushan Mountain, Little Flower, Legend of Tianyun Mountain, Baishan Night Rain, or Furong Town, People Are Coming Middle Age, Alive, etc. were all shot by Shanghai Film Studio and Beijing Film Studio. In the following years, Wu Tianming rose to fame, leading fifth-generation directors such as Zhang Yimou and Chen Kaiji to produce Yellow Earth, Old Well, Red Sorghum and Farewell My Concubine and other films, but Zhang Yimou and Chen Kaiji's actual working place is still in Beijing. Including TV series, most of them are produced by companies in Beijing and Shanghai. Therefore, Hongmei often needs to go to these two places. She has very little time in the studio in Hangzhou. Every time she comes back, she is in a hurry. But no matter how busy she is, the first place she goes directly after getting off the plane is Zhang Chen's office. She has to discuss her latest work with Zhang Chen and listen to Zhang Chen's opinions before going back to her studio to revise it. The phone on Zhang Chen's desk rang, and he picked it up. He Hongmei's voice came from the phone, "Master, I'm back." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "You still need to call me when you get back." "Why, you didn't come here?" "I'm in Shangri-La now." "Master, can you come to Shangri-La?" "What?" "A friend of mine wants to meet you." "Who is it?" "You'll know when you get here. If you don't come, I don't even recognize you." "Why are you going there?" "Oh master, please, please, I know you are the best," He Hongmei shouted, her words coquettish. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, where to Shangri-La?" He, I knew master would come." "Just go to the Shangri-La hall and I'll ask Qian to wait for you there," He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen went downstairs and drove towards the West Lake. As he drove, he was wondering. It was strange that He Hongmei didn't come to his office at the first stop after returning to Hangzhou. She also ran to Shangri-La and had to let herself go there. "What do you mean by meeting a friend of hers? What kind of friend is so arrogant?" From Jianqiao Airport to Shangri-La, whether you are walking from Stadium Road or Huancheng North Road, you have to pass through Zhang Chen's dynamic zone. If you want to meet him, just stop the car. If there is something big, you have to go to the hotel to meet him. As soon as Zhang Chen walked into the lobby of Shangri-La, Qian saw him and came over to greet him. Zhang Chen asked, "What are you doing so mysteriously?" Qian giggled and said, "It's not that we want to be mysterious, but she wants to be mysterious. Everywhere she goes, there are a lot of people around her, looking at her like a monkey. It's so annoying. How can someone be so good looking and have a lot of people want to look at her?" Qian said, "It's really beautiful, even better than in the movie. Really prettier than a monkey." Qian rolled her eyes at him, "You are even prettier than a monkey." Zhang Chen laughed. The two people walked inside, but Zhang Chen still couldn't hold himself back and asked, "Who is it?" "Gong X." "Who are you talking about?" "Gong X." Zhang Chen looked at Qian, and Qian nodded. Zhang Chen understood. It turned out that she was really a beauty. She was indeed good looking, and there would indeed be a large group of people surrounding her. After she got off the plane, she was going to hide here. Which is normal, but... "Why does she want to see me?" Zhang Chen asked. Qian said, "I'm going to the Cannes Film Festival this year. Of course I want you to design costumes. Otherwise, what if I ask you to make a movie? Design clothes? He Hongmei doesn't know how to do it. Aren't you her master? Besides, He Hongmei said that this man is more likely to discover the inner beauty of women. He also said that your eyes are very poisonous and you have different opinions from others. Thanks to Wu Yehuan, third from top to bottom, and 131 on the shore for the tip. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 908. When Zhang Chen followed Qian into the room, the two people sitting and chatting in the room turned around almost at the same time. Zhang Chen felt his eyes lit up. Qian was right. Miss Gong was really more beautiful than in the movie. Beautiful, this kind of beauty is because she is more relaxed and lively, and more lifelike than in the movie. She didn't put on makeup, just wore an ordinary ponytail and a sportswear. Even with such ordinary clothes and grooming, she couldn't hide her beauty, which made it even more impressive. Miss Gong was a little surprised when she saw Zhang Chen. She pursed her lips slightly. She turned to look at He Hongmei. He Hongmei said, "Sister Gong, this is my master. You are so young, I didn't expect it." Then Sister Gong thought she was an old man, He Hongmei said with a smile. "I don't know, I just didn't expect it. It was a bit sudden." Miss Gong smiled, stood up as she spoke, stretched out her hand to Jiang Chen, and said to him, "Hello, Mr. Jiang." Jiang Chen shook hands with Miss Gong. "Hello, Miss Gong." Miss Gong looked at Jiang Chen and asked, "Can you call me Sister Gong like Hung Mei? I should be older than you. There is an extra small word. It sounds like I am still acting." "I'm 1 year older than you," Jiang Chen said. "Then you also call me Sister Gong," Miss Gong said mischievously. Jiang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, Sister Gong." Miss Gong asked Jiang Chen to sit down, and Jiang Chen sat down on the sofa. Hung Mei and Jiang Chen said that the movie starring Sister Gong was selected for this year's Cannes Film Festival in France. In May, she will work with director Chen Kaige, and Hong Kong's. We attended the Cannes Film Festival with Leslie Chung, and she asked me to help her design a dress. I felt unsure, so I recommended Master. Jiang Chen nodded, and he subconsciously looked at Miss Gong. Miss Gong seemed to know what Jiang Chen wanted to see. She stood up, took off her upper body sportswear, and threw it on the sofa where she had just been sitting. She wears a pair of jeans on her lower body and a camel-colored tights on her upper body. She has a well-proportioned and plump figure. She is a typical clothing rack, especially a dress rack. She should look good in anything she wears. She took 2 steps back, stood there for a while, then turned around, turned her back to them, paused for a while, then turned back, looked at the two of them and asked with a smile, "Is it okay?" Jiang Chen said, "Yes, thank you." Miss Gong came back and sat down. Jiang Chen told her that Miss Gong should look good in whatever she wears. Ms. Gong smiled, did not comment, and then said casually, "Anyone who can go to Cannes will look good in whatever they wear." This sentence is not revealing, but it is hidden in the fabric. It reminds Jiang Chen that it is useless to compliment me. The actresses from all over the world who can go to Cannes, not just me, all look good no matter what they wear. Moreover, it is almost a place where the world's famous designers gather their works. It is almost a global fashion show, and it is also a competition of beauty and clothing. Without your own personality and characteristics, it is difficult to stand out on that occasion. What the producers mean is that this year's film is the only Asian film selected for the main competition. They hope. Hung Mei said, and Miss Gong waved her hand, which meant that the producers' opinions were not the same. Important. "It's up to Mr. Jiang to see what suits me," Miss Gong said. "Chongsam," Jiang Chen blurted out. Miss Gong said, "Oh," and her brows twitched. It was obvious that she was a little disappointed on her face. She looked at Hung Mei, who remained calm. When she turned to Jiang Chen again, she said in an inquiring tone, "It's a Chongsam again. Isn't it too excessive? Moreover, in this film, I wore a Chongsam in most of the scenes." Jiang Chen understood Miss Gong's hesitation. Indeed, Chinese women like to wear Chongsam on overseas occasions. Even foreigners know that Chongsam is a symbol of the East. As a result, in some movies, even white women play Chinese women. Sometimes, I also like to wear Chongsam and scratch my head and pose, which makes people look indescribably awkward. Jiang Chen looked at Miss Gong and said, "No, in this world, I think there are 2 types of clothing that can best reflect a woman's sex appeal. One is the bikini, and the other is the Chongsam." "Chongsam? Sexy. Is it the same as a bikini?" Miss Gong was a little confused. "Yes," Jiang Chen nodded. "Don't you think Chongsam can best reveal the beauty of a woman's body?" "That's true," Miss Gong nodded. The Chongsam and the bikini both show off the beauty of a woman's body, but they are 2 extremes. The bikini is about revealing, covering as little as possible, so that the body itself is exposed as much as possible. The Chongsam is about hiding, or to be more precise, it is to hide and release. As I said before, its outline shows off the most beautiful curves of the female body. Collecting or hiding means that it hides all the parts that can be hidden. It does not expose at all, no calves are exposed at the bottom, no front and back necks are exposed on the top, and no armpits are exposed on both sides. Everything is stored just right. Wearing a cheongsam, a woman is like a sculpture wrapped in cloth, but her body temperature and feminine scent are everywhere. The cleverness of the cheongsam lies in restraint and hiding. But precisely because of hiding, it attracts more people to inquire and have the feeling of being unable to speak. Therefore, the slits of the cheongsam are opened a little higher, which is better than exposing the thighs directly. Which is even more imaginative. This kind of hiding is actually a better do, a more attractive do with strong temptation. Imagine, if there are two women walking side by side in front of you, one wearing a bikini and the other wearing a cheongsam, walking gracefully and gracefully, whose body do you want to see more and catch up with her and see her front? At least, I do. I would rather see someone wearing a cheongsam, because I don't need to look at someone wearing a bikini, but this person wearing a cheongsam will bring a sense of mystery and arouse my curiosity. Many people misunderstand the hidden and exposed aspects of a cheongsam. When they design a cheongsam, they instead focus on what is exposed. They change the sleeves to sleeveless, open the slit higher, and lift the skirt above the knees. In short, they want to expose as much of the body as possible, and as a result, the essence of the cheongsam is destroyed. It is no longer mysterious and noble, but becomes commercial. Miss Gong looked at He Hungmei smiled slightly, and Miss Gong couldn't help but laugh too. She felt that although she was still a little resistant to cheongsam, He Hungmei was right about one thing, that is, she was a master with a vicious look, and he could in very ordinary things, one can see very deeply and hit the point immediately. No matter what, the clothing designed by such a person will definitely be different and have its own unique charm and taste. Zhang Chen paused for a moment and continued to talk to Miss Gong. I understand what Sister Gong said about cheongsam being too popular. No matter how good it is, if you look at it often, you will be numb and unable to feel the beauty in it. Beauty is often associated with the new or the old. But the old must be old enough. The old is strange, like a cultural relic, not the old of yesterday. When the old is strange, it becomes new. Beauty is related to new things in this way. Therefore, people's feeling of stunning is higher than that of beauty. Stunningness is a chance encounter, which is rare. I just saw Sister Gong and I was amazed. I want to think of this: the feeling is preserved and integrated into the design, and this amazingness is conveyed to more people through my design. I think Sister Gong's figure and temperament can only be expressed in a cheongsam, but the cheongsam I'm talking about is not a copy of the entire cheongsam shape. It's about expanding on this basis, retaining the mystery and nobility, retaining the hidden essence, but it can't be the kind of cheongsam that everyone is accustomed to. If that is the case, it will be too ordinary. No matter how exquisite your design is, no matter how exquisite the materials are, no matter how sophisticated the production is, it will not make people feel amazing. As Zhang Chen said, Miss Gong let out a sigh of relief. It turned out that it was like this. It seemed that she had misunderstood. Master, what are you going to do? Do you have any ideas? He Hungmei asked. The stand-up collar and buttons are retained, but the placket is a fake placket, so that the entire front chest is smooth, and the placket and buttons are just embellishments. He Hungmei didn't understand, so she asked, if it's fake, how can I wear it? Zhang Chen looked at her and said with a smile, it's like eating ancient food, it's an invisible zipper. Invisible zippers? You said invisible zippers are used on cheongsams, He Hungmei shouted. First of all, this is not a cheongsam. Don't be rigid. We just used elements of cheongsam. It is a garment, and a garment can use various elements. The invisible zipper is such a useful and convenient thing, why not use it? Zhang Chen laughed and asked, by the way, have you two seen invisible zippers when you were children? Miss Gong and He Hungmei thought about it and shook their heads. Zhang Chen asked He Hongmei again. You are still studying fashion design. When you first went to school, did you use invisible zippers? Think about it carefully. He Hongmei thought for a moment and said, it's really not true, master. Why is this happening? Let me tell you, in 1993, when Shanghai Huading Isetan opened, Shanghai Nessa had never seen an invisible zipper before. Until Huading Isetan opened, they went to Huading Isetan to buy clothes with invisible zippers. It is still a very fashionable thing to carry a plastic shopping bag with Isetan printed on it while walking down the street, just like carrying a designer bag. It's only been a few years since 1993. Are invisible zippers still rare? Why aren't they? Isn't it because it's so easy to use? Too many people use it. Why don't we use such a useful thing? The cheongsam on the front, the style, there is an invisible zipper on the back. How convenient is it? I think if this invisible zipper had appeared 100 years earlier, many people would have used it on cheongsam. What about the fabric, silk, brocade or chiffon? He Hongmei asked. No, the texture and drape you mentioned are not good. The stunning thing depends on the overall effect and eye-catching effect. In fact, the requirements for the material itself are not high, as long as it can meet the requirements, that's good. I think even Sister Gong won't wear this outfit again after she wore it in Cannes, right? I think acetate is the most suitable, preferably with some lycra, plus screen printing. Halfway through Zhang Chen's words, he turned to Miss Gong and said to her, Sister Gong, please give me this opportunity to try. Miss Gong was stunned for a moment. When she came to Hangzhou this time, she originally came to find He Hongmei's master to help her design clothes. Unexpectedly, now, why did he take the initiative to ask for a chance and let him try it out? He Hongmei couldn't help laughing on the side. Miss Gong looked at her. He Hongmei smiled and said, my master is already confident and can't wait. If you don't let him try it now, he will be suffocated to death. When Ms. Gong heard this, she was attracted to a good script and read it all night long. Isn't that the same feeling in her heart? Miss Gong laughed softly. Thank you Cheng Junhua, Wawa Tin Soldier, and Riri Fanshu for the rewards. Thank you Lao Chentang and Book Friend 2020031823295651 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 909. Zhang Chen left Shangri-La and drove to Sijiking Fabric Market. While driving on the road, he remembered that he hadn't been to Cai Jingxiang's place for a long time. The Sijiking Fabric Market is still the same, and Cai Jingxiang's stall is still in the same place. When he saw Zhang Chen, Cai Jingxiang laughed and said, I thought you would never come here again. Why? Zhang Chen asked. I've been paying attention to you. Now that your business is so big, the fabrics I have here are no longer suitable for you. You need to place an order of tens of thousands of meters now, right? Zhang Chen nodded and said, that's true. However, the reason why I rarely come to this market is that I turn to it. I know that you are now focusing on cotton and linen. I went to your Ban Mu Tian store to see it, Cai Jingxiang said. Then why don't you go to my office to play? Zhang Chen said, my office is not far from half an acre of field. I know, it's upstairs in the M zone. I've been to the M zone many times. It's very good. The concept is advanced. That market is different from all our markets. Zhang Chen looked at him and said, you didn't come to my office to sit in the dynamic zone. How come you forgot about me, an old friend? Cai Jingxiang smiled and asked Zhang Chen, do you still want some tea? Zhang Chen said, drinking. He knew that Cai Jingxiang was deliberately changing the subject. The reason why he did not answer his question was that he felt that he were different. It turned out that both of them were setting up stalls in Sijiking, one selling clothes and the other selling fabrics, but now, you no longer set up a stall, the roles of both parties are different, and people don't look for you. This is just a matter of common sense. I don't know why, Zhang Chen felt a little sad. Zhang Chen and Cai Jingxiang said that now in Taipei, we already have our half-acre store on Zhongxiao East Road. Really? Then I will go back to Taipei and take my family to see it. The store owner is a woman, her surname is Lin. If you tell her that she is my friend, she will definitely give you a discount when you buy clothes. Okay, thank you. By the way, boss Cai, let's have dinner together when we have time. I also have a friend who is also from Taiwan. We usually have dinner together. When he comes from Taiwan, we will all get together and get to know each other, Zhang Chen said. Cai Jingxiang nodded and said yes. Zhang Chen stood up and looked for fabrics, and he was not disappointed. He found suitable fabrics here. At the same time, he found that Cai Jingxiang had changed almost all the fabrics here since he had not been here for a long time. Zhang Chen suddenly had an idea. If he had been focusing on cotton and linen fabrics, would his vision become narrower and narrower, and he would not be able to even name many new fabrics? Why not just like painting, try other fabrics from time to time? In this way, it is actually beneficial for you to understand cotton and linen more deeply. You can also try to design some other styles, and the sample clothes you make can be sold in stores even if they are not mass-produced. It can even be provided directly to He Hungmei. If she receives an urban-themed script, she can use it. The biggest advantage of doing this is to keep your hands from getting raw, cultivate your ability to handle various fabrics, and keep yourself from falling behind. If you indulge in one thing for a long time, you will often develop blind spots. Having made up his mind, Zhang Chen immediately selected 40 or 50 kinds of fabrics at Cai Jingxiang's place. The fabrics he had here were still the same, ranging from half a piece to 2 or 3 pieces at most. Cai Jingxiang looked strange on the side and asked, "Can you still use these fabrics now?" "Collection," Zhang Chen smiled. "Collect?" "Yes, collection. The fabrics you have here will be gone if you miss them. If you like them, collect them first. When you use them, you won't have to look for them." When Zhang Chen said this, he remembered that He Hungmei actually needed such a fabric library. Cai Jingxiang was a little dumbfounded. He said, "I understand. The main thing is that I have money and don't care." Zhang Chen said to him, "By the way, every time you deliver fabrics from now on, just call me and I'll come over and take a look first." Zhang Chen has decided to build this fabric warehouse. Anyway, after moving the elastic cotton needed for making winter clothing samples in the design center's warehouse to the factory's warehouse, more than half of it is still empty. Cai Jingxiang said, "Okay, so we are going to start doing business again?" "Yes, but I didn't bring any money today. I'll have someone bring it to you tomorrow." Cai Jingxiang smiled and said, "Am I still afraid that you will run away?" Zhang Chen asked Cai Jingxiang to calculate the money, and then called Xiao Sheng and asked him to come over and take the fabrics to the design center. Cai Jingxiang was still calculating. Zhang Chen was about to leave first, and told him that he would just hand over the order to the driver later. After sitting in the car, Zhang Chen called Lao Wan and asked him, "Which construction site of yours currently has carpenters?" Lao Wan asked, "Mr. Zhang, what are you going to do?" "Make some wooden shelves. I'll ask the carpenter to come over and do it somewhere. The design center here on Taoyuan Road." "Okay, Mr. Zhang, then I'll have the carpenter come over right away to measure the dimensions," Lao Wan said. After hanging up Lao Wan's call, Zhang Chen dialed Lao Tang's number again and told him that he needed help with something. Lao Tang said, "Yes, I will come right away. Where are you going? Go to my office. I'm at the entrance of Sijiking Fabric Market now. I'll be back soon. As soon as Zhang Chen arrived at the office, Old Tang arrived immediately. Standing at the door, he shouted, "Commander, what are your orders?" Zhang Chen hurriedly waved him in. Zhang Chen asked, "Is there any way to create the effect of watermark woodcut on fabrics?" "What fabric?" "Acetate fiber." "Chemical fiber?" "Direct printing is difficult, but there are ways," Old Tang said. "What can we do?" Zhang Chen asked. "First make a set of stencils and overprint them color by color on rice paper. After completion, dry the screen stencil and transfer it to the fabric," Lao Tang said. "In this case, will the moist and refreshing effect of watermark woodcut still be retained?" "Exactly the same," Old Tang said. Zhang Chen nodded. Zhang Chen has already thought about it. The upper body and waist of Miss Gong's outfit borrow elements from the cheongsam. It is white in color and mainly decorated with fake placket and buttons, as well as the piping of the stand-up collar. The left shoulder blade is decorated with silver thread. Hand embroidered a plum blossom. "Aren't you going to walk on the red carpet?" From the waist down, Zhang Chen planned to make it look like a floor-length evening dress, with plum blossoms printed on the skirt. Zhang Chen knew that there would be many actresses wearing floor-length evening gowns to attend this event. In addition to the upper part of Zhang Chen's dress absorbing elements of cheongsam, the highlight of the lower part is this pattern is printed on white acetate fabric, with vigorous black branches and plum blossoms as red as blood. Watermark woodblock printing technology is a unique technology in China. It is based on my country's traditional woodblock watermarking method, combined with modern printmaking technology, absorbing Chinese painting ink techniques, using ink and water-based pigments, and printing on absorbent rice paper and filter paper. Out of the woodcut prints. It not only has a vigorous and honest, bright, and clear texture impression, but also can achieve a dripping, hazy and elegant misty rain artistic conception, which is endlessly interesting. This is a copper engraving effect flower pattern that may be found on other celebrities' floor-length dresses. How? Not even comparable. Zhang Chen could already imagine how the surrounding people would react when Miss Gong came dragging the plum blossoms that were full of water vapor and full of vitality. "Old Tang, do you have a good plum blossom version?" Zhang Chen asked. "Where is the seal? The hem of the floor-length evening gown needs to be a little more colorful." Old Tang thought for a moment and said, "How about using Guanshanyu's?" Zhang Chen said yes, so he would use his. Xiao Shen walked in from the door and asked Zhang Chen, "Where were the fabrics from the fabric market put?" Zhang Chen said, "Put it in the design center first. There are 2 white ones that I tied together with a rope. You can bring them here first." Zhang Chen opened up the fabric that Xiao Sheng sent in, cut a large piece, handed it to Old Tang, and told him, "You print a sample first, and I will see the effect." "So careful," Old Tang smiled secretly, turned to look outside the door, and asked Zhang Chen, "Aren't you making it for the boss lady?" Zhang Chen shook his head and said no. "You are so dedicated, is there anything going on?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Yes, if there is a situation, you must be very careful." What kind of beautiful woman wants a handsome man to be so flattering?" "Stop being so nagging, just finish the work for me," Zhang Chen scolded. "I'll tell you which beauty it is when it's finished." "Okay, then it's settled." Old Tang took the fabric and left. Zhang Chen called Ji Ling over and asked her, "Have you studied floor-length evening gowns?" Ji Ling nodded. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I know you must have studied it. Do you often imagine yourself wearing it?" "No, women wearing evening dresses are often killed," Ji Ling said. Zhang Chen laughed loudly. "Whose novel is it? Is it in Zemila's novel again?" Ji Ling nodded again. Zhang Chen stood up, picked up the 2 pieces of fabric, and said to Ji Ling, "Let's go and see what should be done with the hem of this evening dress." Zhang Chen spent 3 days making the costume. During the period, He Hongmei and Miss Gong came here once. They saw Zhang Chen's design draft and fell in love with it. He Hongmei and Xiao Zhao accompanied Miss Gong to their Ban Mutian specialty store and picked out some clothes. He Hongmei and Xiao Zhao also accompanied her to dinner. Lu Ligan knew about it and must go there. Zhang Chen he scolded, 3 women are eating, why are you joining in the fun? I'm going to see Sichuan girls, not Miss Gong, Lu Ligan shouted. When did you become so interested in Sichuan girls? Zhang Chen asked. It's been a long time since I've had a quarrel, and I'm a bit itchy, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen sent the clothes to Shangri-La. When Miss Gong saw it, she was so surprised that she was speechless for a long time. When He Hongmei and Qian helped her put on the dress, she looked left and right in the mirror, then looked at Zhang Chen standing behind her in the mirror and said, this is it, it is what I imagined, thank you. In the evening of that day, He Hongmei and Miss Gong left together. To prevent any accident, she asked Zhang Chen to make another one for her exactly the same. After it was made, Qian sent it to Beijing. At Cannes in May, there was a lot of beauty. When Ms. Gong, the Oriental face considered the most beautiful in the Western world, appeared on the red carpet with Chen Kaiji and Leslie Chung, it really caused a sensation. Even the CCTV News Network broadcast this message. The word amazing was used. Many media headlines read, Oriental beauties stun Cannes. When He Hongmei and Wen went to Zhang Chen's office again, they told him that many people want to ask you to design dresses. Master, you are not familiar with this industry. If someone comes to you directly, you must not accept it yourself. Let them all go. They went to find Wen. Wen is right, we are not second-rate or third-rate actors. If we have money, we will design for her. We need to set up the score. In this industry, Mr. Zhang, let me tell you, the score must be big. We would rather be good than fine. Indiscriminate. Zhang Chen laughed. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, ranked third from top to bottom, and 131 on the shore for the reward. Thank you for your monthly pass to Westlake Bull Riding. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 910. Zhang Chen took He Hongmei to the next door and looked at his fabric warehouse. He Hongmei saw that most of the warehouse was lined with wooden shelves, just like what she and Zhang Chen saw when they went to Zhangjiagong Sankei Weaving Company. They were neatly arranged. There are hundreds of kinds of fabrics on display. These fabrics are all imported at first glance, and many He Hongmei can't even recognize what they are made of. He Hongmei was ecstatic and shouted, there are so many good things, Master, can I use them to rub fabrics in the future? It's so hard to find the right fabric. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I started it just because I was waiting for you to mess with me. He Hongmei giggled. Zhang Chen told He Hongmei about the origin of these fabrics, and told her that these fabrics were custom made by companies that produce world-famous brands. Think about how much thought was put into each fabric. He Hongmei nodded and said, no wonder I don't recognize many of them. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei said that when they have time, they would like to go to Milan and Paris regularly every year to order some fabrics and enrich our fabric library, including many fabric weaving methods. In fact, we can also make suggestions to fabric factories and let them go try using cotton or linen. There are many people copying our styles now. If we can control the fabric, we can be one step ahead of them. By the time they copy it, half the season will have passed. He Hongmei agreed with Zhang Chen's idea. She said, I often go abroad with the crew, and I will pay attention to it. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen asked He Hongmei how she was doing now. He Hongmei said that she was very busy and made more money than she imagined. But, Master, why do I feel that I am not as happy as before, especially when I am here? Zhang Chen laughed and said, in the past, you didn't have to face many things alone. There was no pressure. Whether your goods were coming in well or not, your family would find a way to sell them. Here, you have no design tasks and can arrange your own time and work. Now, you need to be completely alone, and you have to bear the pressure alone, which is of course different. However, you have done well so far. Many times, people don't know how capable they are, and they need external stimulation to stimulate them. Again, don't be afraid, you are better than most. Everyone is capable and will do well. I understand, thank you master. Zhang Chen looked at He Hongmei and asked, now, your time is probably no longer arranged by yourself. Most of it is actually arranged by others. Every day, it is like living for others, right? That's right, that guy Wenwen has a full schedule for me every day. I don't even know who I have to meet or what I have to say every day. She will give me an outline and ask me to memorize it. He also excerpted some disgusting words from unknown places and asked me to recite them, saying that I must say them like this. It was also stipulated that I had to wear such and such clothes and take photos of this and that. When the magazine came out and saw the photos above, I realized that I had been interviewed by this magazine, He Hongmei said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, it seems that Wenwen did a good job. It's really good, but the energy is too high. She always wants me to be as energetic as her. Her catchphrase is, isn't it just a run? What's the point, isn't it just a cup of coffee with him? Whatever, go ahead, I've arranged it. I felt like I was going to be tortured to death by her. He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen and said with a smile. Master, it's true. Every night now, when I see her walking in with the schedule for the next day, I feel like I'm either me or her and Kinkins every day. Every morning, it's Kinkins. She dragged me out of bed and pushed me into the bathroom. She even helped me put on my clothes. Master, I particularly admire someone right now. Do you know who it is? Who? Zhang Chen asked. Pole, I don't even know how he dealt with two such energetic guys before. Zhang Chen laughed and said, isn't this good? Have you ever thought about why the fashion industry is called fashion? It means that you have to race against time every day and strive to be ahead of time. If you don't, you will be left behind. It seems that they can keep you looking bright and beautiful. I'm afraid it will be too glamorous, so glamorous that it will explode. He Hongmei sighed and said, sometimes, I don't know what I need. Fortunately, I can often go back to Hangzhou and see you and Sister Xiaoxiao. Really, Master, every time the plane arrives at Jianqiao Airport, when I land and prepare to get off the plane, I will breathe a sigh of relief. I feel like a fish that has been in the water for too long and can finally surface and take a breath. Zhang Chen laughed. What are you talking about? Are you so happy? Xiao Zhao walked in and asked. He Hongmei pointed to the rows of shelves in front of her and said to Xiao Zhao, I'm looking at Master's collection. He Hongmei, like Cai Jingxiang, also mentioned the word collection, which made Zhang Chen's heart skip a beat. After Miss Gong stunned Khan, Su Wenhui learned from Lu Ligan that Miss Gong's clothes were designed by Zhang Chen. He came to see Zhang Chen and sat in his office and refused to leave. Zhang Chen said, Su Wenhui, I really don't like to do exclusive interviews. If you don't believe me, ask Zhuangzi. On the day my store opened, the reporter's exclusive interview was done by Zanzi pretending to be me. Even the photo of Zhang Chen in the newspaper was all of him. I'm too lazy to ask, Su Wenhui said, which media in Hangzhou doesn't like to be interviewed? But this time, Mr. Zhang, you're awesome. I'm in the newspaper office, but it's been blown out. I can't get the manuscript out. Can I submit it? Not bad. Then just write wildly and freely. Anyway, I will recognize whatever you write, Zhang Chen said with a smile. If you say I have 6 fingers, I will recognize it. Don't talk nonsense to me. Anyway, if you don't do this interview today, I won't leave. Or you can call security to throw me out. If you throw me out, I will come back. How about in 2 days, Su Wenhui, let me think about what I should say. Don't think about it. Don't treat it as an exclusive interview. If you and I are friends, then let's chat. Just two friends chatting. Then tomorrow is okay, Su Wenhui. Su Wenhui ignored him, knowing that if he promised tomorrow, there would be no tomorrow. Tomorrow Zhang Chen and others would hide, and he could not even find him. This was why Su Wenhui only called Xiao Zhao and asked her about Zhang Chen. The reason why he didn't call Zhang Chen directly was whether Chen was there or not. Su Wenhui stood up, poured water by himself, and then returned to the sofa to sit down. When it was time to eat lunch, Xiao Zhao came in and asked Zhang Chen if he wanted to bring him some food. Su Wenhui shouted, "Bring me some too, boss lady." Xiao Zhao knew that Su Wenhui was staring at Zhang Chen to do an exclusive interview. It took him a whole morning, but Zhang Chen refused to do it. Xiao Zhao walked outside the door, thought about it, turned around and waved to Su Wenhui, and Su Wenhui walked out. "Are you unwilling to do it?" Xiao Zhao asked. Su Wenhui nodded and said with a grimace, "Xiao Zhao, please tell me. It's no use what I said. What should we do?" Xiao Zhao looked behind Su Wenhui and whispered to him, "If you want him to accept an interview, call Tan Shehen. Tan Shehen can persuade him." "Really?" "Xiao Zhao, you can't say it, but Tan Shehen can," Su Wenhui asked. Xiao Zhao nodded. Su Wenhui returned to Zhang Chen's office and picked up the phone on the table. Seeing that he was about to make a call, Zhang Chen stood up and walked to the sofa to sit down. Su Wenhui called Tan Shehen's office. Su Wenhui told her, "Sister Shehen, I am here with Mr. Zhang. Wasn't MS Gong's Con Film Festival costume designed by Mr. Zhang? I want to do an exclusive interview." "It's a good thing, reporter Su, you have helped us with publicity again, thank you," Tan Shehen said on the phone. Okay, I've been sitting here all morning, and Mr. Zhang refuses to say a word," Su Wenhui shouted. "You tell him to answer the phone." Su Wenhui took the phone and said to Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, Sister Shehen asked you to answer the phone." Zhang Chen stared at Su Wenhui and sat there motionless. Su Wenhui smiled and said, "Sister Shehen, he refuses to accept it." "If you don't pick me up, I'll come right away," Tan Shehen said. "Mr. Zhang, Sister Shehen said she will come right away if you don't answer the phone." Zhang Chen stood up helplessly, walked over, glared at Su Wenhui, and took the phone. Tan Shehen scolded, "Zhang Chen, why don't you answer my call? Why don't you accept Su Wenhui's interview? I don't think there's much to say." "You have nothing to say, but Zhang Chen, I need you here to find something to say even if you have nothing to say." Zhang Chen scolded, "Tisk, Tan Shehen, if I don't accept an interview, what does it have to do with you?" "Of course it does matter. Do you think this is your business alone? Do you think this is your interview alone? Are you still not the boss of Banmution or the designer of Banmution? This is free advertising for you. If you don't fight, what do you want to do? He Hung Mei won the award, and you know you want to take advantage of her. How can you not bear to let the company take advantage of such a great good thing?" Tan Shehen cursed like a barrage of words, "Do you think you are being selfish by doing this? Zhang Chen, let me tell you, as long as you still own half an acre of land, you have no right to refuse the interview. I am going to do a promotional event here. I'm just waiting for this exclusive interview with you, Zhang Chen, just wait, I'll be here right away." No, that's so long-winded. The only reason why I'm being interviewed by this bastard Su Wenhui is, Tan Shehen, don't come over. Zhang Chen shouted quickly, thinking that if Tan Shehen came, she would definitely stand here and keep scolding her. Tan Shahen would not give up until she achieved her goal. Instead of doing this, she might as well accept an exclusive interview with Su Wenhui. Su Wenhui watched from the side and couldn't stop being happy. When Xiao Zhehe and a helper from the cafeteria walked in with a tray in their hands, she saw that Zhang Chen was already being interviewed by Su Wenhui, and knew that Tan Shahen had already called. Xiao Zhao shook his head slightly and greeted them. Eat first. Thank you Tin Soldier and On the Shore 131 for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes from Eavesdropping Yin and Yang, Book Friends 2017100753088657, Yuju, Why Can't You Change Your Name, Sample Thief, Wu Yehuan, and Book Friends 201910142017583818. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish everyone good health.